Hello, 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 hello. It's Yay, aka MODISHYE, and today I will share the most important lesson I learned in my second year of grad school. In order to give you a timeline of events, the second year was from summer 2022 to spring 2023 because I did take a summer class. The lesson I learned is how to behave, communicate, and navigate group projects, team members, and team projects. The topic is something worth exploring entirely independently, hence this video is dedicated to it. Firstly, if the option is available, I would suggest choosing your team members yourself. In the case where you are unable to, such as your professor creating the groups themselves, stay tuned because there are ways to navigate that. And if you do not know anyone in the class, or if you don't know who to choose, your best bet is to choose people who sit in the front row. Stereotypical, but has a lot of merit in a lot of cases, but not every case. If you can choose your team members, do not choose athletes. Athletes, run to the comments, and while you do, I'll share why you shouldn't choose them. In my experience, many athletes, not all of course, tend to believe this assumption that everyone's schedule must revolve around their schedule. I also want to note that at my school, you could do your master's while you are in undergrad through a program called BBA MBA. This means you will graduate in 5 years versus 6. I'm not aware of athletes playing in grad school in terms of the traditional sense. What I am aware is the BBA MBA athletes taking grad level classes. So even though I'm reflecting on my experience in grad school, this tip of staying away from athletes still applies because of the BBA MBA program. Common statements athletes say are, I can't meet that day, I have practice. The practice is only 2 to 3 hours long, yet the whole day is off limits. Another one was, I can't meet that day, I have a game. Again, is the game going to take place for 24 hours? No, it won't. I understand the kind of attention athletes bring to schools, but get your priorities together and do not make your problem my problem. Arrange your schedule accordingly, and when you do come to the meeting, whether on Zoom or in person, bring some ideas along with you. It's not productive for you to just come to the meetings and not move the meeting forward. Secondly, once the teams have been established, exchange phone numbers or find another form of contact. Then establish a sense of urgency from the beginning. For a lot of group projects at school and at work, the professor or manager is concerned with the outcome. In some instances, a professor will penalize the freeloaders, which are people who ride on the success of others without having to contribute anything, and other times they don't. However, when you create a sense of urgency, you establish that things need to be done ASAP. People need to know what they need to do and have the time to actually do it. Most people are waiting to be told what to do anyway, especially when they have a more passive way of communicating. Once you have created a sense of urgency, your eyes should be on the outcome. Women, please borrow this tip from men, and that is to compartmentalize. Have you noticed how a man can flirt with you at the airport but never follow through and plan a date? Or have you noticed when you're at work and the guy from marketing gives you the best compliments and then uses your idea at the next staff meeting? It's because to men, this is just work. I have learned from listening to Michelle and Lester's podcast that a man can like you a little bit and that is just it. Nothing more needs to be done. They are just words. Both men and women lie to sell unfulfilled promises because it's palatable. He is not going to leave his stable wife nor move to a different state or fill in the blank for the pleasure that he gets to simply pass the time. Plus, do not think for 1 second you are the only woman that he's complimenting. Be for real. He's advancing his career, so should you. It's work. As women, carry that approach when it comes to group or team projects. Like your team members enough to get the end goal met. Do not take what they say or do personally so far as it does not impact the end goal. If there are differences in opinions on the best route to take, go with majority. While you are in the group, if you are good at formatting and putting everything together, vocalize that. Lead with your strengths because it benefits you. And say it with me, the group project. Something else I want to mention is if it seems like things are not progressing in a timely manner, mention and document it and then bring it up to your professor or manager. Try as much as possible to mitigate all issues independently. Professors and managers already have enough on their plates, and they don't have the bandwidth to babysit adult children. And when you go to the professor or manager, mention how the delay is impacting the expected delivery and provide 2 options for them to choose from. Work it in your favor. I have done this, it works. Do not lead with your feelings, especially if the professor or manager is a male. They do not care. At best, you look like you can't prioritize, and at worst, you come off as someone with low emotional intelligence. That does not benefit you in a school environment or at the workplace. Save that for your hobbies. Working with people who have different communication styles, different approaches to problem solving, and etc. requires strategy. Some experiences will be smooth, while others will be bumpy. But whatever you do, do not get distracted. I had 2 group projects in grad school that I would consider bumpy, and in both we got A's. The rest were smooth. How to navigate group projects is an essential skill because in corporate, you are expected to be able to work with others and other departments. And if you are unable to conduct yourself in a professional manner or lash out at the slightest issue, you will be intolerable. When you are intolerable, the label of difficult is assigned, and corporations do not want to work with difficult people. Not because they care about the individual, but because it will impact their profit and shareholders' wealth. I'm not saying be passive either. Let it be known how you contributed to the success of the project. This can be used in your recommendation letter. Speak up. And if you need an example on how to do so, check out my blog post article titled Raise Your Voice, which will be linked in the description box. The first step you ought to do is start speaking up for the little things. I asked for avocado on the side and they forgot. Ask the waiter or waitress to bring you some. Doing this several times and eventually moving on to bigger tasks will give you the confidence to speak up. That's a tip from Ms. Shalyn Lester, and I'm sharing it because it works. Also, understand, which is something I know and need to be reminded on sometimes, that you won't always get your way. Don't stress on the PowerPoint template or the font. If the work is sufficient and your professor or manager is thrilled with your results, that's all that matters. Fortunately, I have hobbies that allow me to do them in the way I want to do it. So when it comes to working with others, I can expand my tolerance because I have other avenues to oversee and have creative control as much as possible. Plus, I diversify my interest groups. So, to recap this video, how do you behave in a group project? You compartmentalize and focus on getting the project done. How do you communicate? You create a sense of urgency by sharing that the faster a plan is created, the more time people can work on their parts and fill in the missing pieces if necessary. Also, make sure people are clear on what things need to be done, and if people need assistance, it is okay to ask questions in service of completing the project. Be assertive by creating a plan and asking how does that work or sound to everyone, and then go with majority. Lead with your strengths. The plan does not need to be perfect, and other approaches should be welcomed, but it is necessary to get people in the mindset of getting things done to avoid delay. Lastly, how do you navigate group projects? Firstly, this is done by understanding a skill will be learned that is necessary to have. Therefore, you can't run away from projects. Secondly, do everything you can to solve issues. A number of tactics can be used. Put it in the group chat or email thread, which can be used later when you need advice from your professor on how to approach the situation. If the issues are not resolved, despite your best 2 attempts, escalate it to your professor because, say it with me, it will impact the completion of your project. The first time is to set the standard. The second time is to remind people of the standard. For example, I'm reattaching my previous email. If you think what I'm saying in this video is harsh, you haven't seen anything yet. Corporate in the United States is waiting for you. Good luck. If you like this video on the most important lesson I learned my second year in grad school, please like, Subscribe to the channel for more school advice videos and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any school advice videos. If you missed the video where I discussed the 5 things I learned my first year in grad school, watch it here. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya!